going on, everyone? Justin back with you from Survive the Hunt. I came to this park and I started walking the edge of a marsh looking for scrapes, rubs, entry points from the marsh, maybe some beds along the marsh. I found a little bit of sign along the way, a couple rubs, and then I came to this spot right here. It's almost like it kind of pokes out in the marsh a little bit more. And back over here, it looks like a spot where deer like to come in from the marsh, which those are everywhere, so I'm not too worried about that. But there's a scrape right down here. It's got poop in it from probably a day or two ago, and it has not been freshened up since then. And we've had a lot of rain here in Michigan. A lot of rain the past couple days. So I know that nothing has hit that scrape recently. So I'm really hoping that something comes this evening and tries to freshen that scrape up. I know that there's some mature deer back in here. I've seen them before. Just have not been able to connect with one yet, so hopefully this plan pays out. Okay, y'all, I just got down to the bottom of the tree. I had a deer come in right at last light. I'd already packed away my camera gear just because it was way too dark to film and there was no way anyone was going to see anything. So I'd already started to back up, and then I heard a deer walking through the woods, going straight for that scrape. And I actually spooked it. My release was like collapsed down to make it more compact, and when I folded it back out, it made a little tiny squeak, and that deer heard it and immediately took off. But it's good to practice and figure things like that out. From now on, my release is always going to be folded out, not in, so it's ready to go. It's really good to note that stuff into the memory bank. So anyways, no buck sightings today. At least I don't think that was a buck. I couldn't see any antlers. So hopefully tomorrow, actually in a couple days, I'm gonna be able to get back out and I can build on that info. And hopefully I can have an encounter with a deer, a buck. That's the goal for this year, is to have an encounter with a mature deer. Alright, I'm gonna get back to the car, get some sleep. I'll see y'all on the next time. So it's my second day hunting this park this season. I came out to a small island out in the middle of a marsh. There's not any hot sign or anything, but there is some fresh poop, some big fresh poops. Lots of really old rubs out here. The understory is so thick, I didn't really want to get in my saddle, so I made myself a little grind pound here. With all the blowdowns from this year, we had a really windy summer. But I'm hoping we get some deer activity tonight. maybe even a big buck. I shot a nice buck. I didn't get on freaking camera though. I can't believe this. Well, y'all, I got a dead buck to go pick up. Dropping all the gear off at the car. Meeting my future father-in-law and a neighbor there, and we're gonna go recover it and drag it out. I can't wait to walk you guys through what happened. Okay, everybody, I'm just gonna wrap up a little bit about the hunt. So, as you all know, I did not get that buck on camera until after I had shot. We're all going to get next year some Tactacams. There's a one button push where you can turn all your Tactacam cameras on at once. I'm gonna attach one to my bow, hopefully get a wide angle lens so you can see what's going on in the blind or in the tree. That, I'm looking forward to getting that. And the way it came in, it was, since I was set up on the ground as you guys saw, it was a little bit hard to get away with movement, and the way that buck came in was really not the best for filming because he was coming straight at me. I saw him 40 yards away. That little island sets up like it's got a little plateau on top and it drops probably 8 feet down into the marsh. So he must have come out of the marsh, and I think he was only bedded about 60 yards away from where I set up, just based on the fact that he didn't have any mud on his feet. He must have been very close to the island on pretty solid ground. The way that he came into my setup was he came directly at me. I first saw him at about 45 yards, just could see the top of his head, and I scrambled to try to get the camera going, and in my scramble I must have hit the wrong button, and I took a picture instead of a video, which I didn't even know that this camera could do that. But anyways, he came right at me, like directly at me, just staring right where I was at, but he never knew I was there. He never saw me. He walked within 10 yards of me, and then he broke off to his left, or his right, and my left, went down one of those little downhill slopes onto a little flat piece. And as he was doing that, he was quartering away at 17 yards. And as soon as he got behind some brush in my blind, I drew back and held. I knew he was about 17 yards, so I just held the pin on right where I wanted it to go. And I didn't stop him, which in hindsight, I might start stopping deer. I'm not a huge fan of stopping deer because I feel like it puts them on alert. And I think that this example kind of like confirms that hypothesis that stopping deer alerts him, because I shot him and he had no idea what had happened. He bounded 3 steps, stood there for probably 5 minutes, just looking around trying to figure out what that noise was. Then he took about 5 steps, and I was ranging him the whole time. He was at 35 yards because I was preparing to take a follow-up shot. Because whenever he stopped, I threw the binos up and I could tell that I was way further back than I wanted to. And that's because I didn't stop the deer. My arrow, it zipped through him and stuck in the dirt right where my pin was at. So I know the shot was good, the shot felt great, broke clean, but he was just moving. And honestly, even at 17 yards, either need to lead them a little bit, which I don't really like to do, or need to stop them. But because I didn't stop them, he had no idea what had happened. Well, from the first place that he stopped, which was about 3 steps away from the shot, he took another 4 or 5 steps and was still behind a low hanging branch. So I didn't have a clear shot at his vitals yet, but I was prepared to make that shot. And he just needed 2 more steps, just 2 more steps, and I would have had a clean shot. But instead of taking those 2 steps, he just bedded down right there. And as soon as he bedded down, I started feeling a sense of relief, texting buddies, letting them know what had just happened. And it took him a few minutes to expire after he bedded down for that final time. And that was, obviously, you never want to see an animal suffer, but I was glad that I was not going to have to do a track job and that he was not suffering. He had no idea what had happened, and he died 35 yards away from where I was sitting. Never knew I was there. It was really incredible to witness that whole situation play out, especially with such a nice mature deer. I would say he's about 3.5 years old, which isn't a huge deer, but here in Michigan, it's unusual for them to get that old because there's so much hunting pressure here. And I also might have a little bit of history with that buck. Last year, I hunted around in the same area, and I had about a 2.5-year-old, like tight 6-point, come walking straight into me, almost very similar situation. He got about 10 feet away from me, and he saw me and spooked off. But as soon as I saw that deer come out, I knew I wasn't gonna shoot it. It was a 2.5-year-old and just wasn't the caliber of deer that I would want to harvest. So maybe that was him. There's no way of really knowing. And then this year, I actually got some Tactacam cell cameras, the Reveal X, and I put one camera in that area, not on the island that I actually hunted, but a close by area, and I had got one picture of him, just one picture, and it was at 10 o'clock at night, the day before the opener, and that's the only picture I got. That was the only clue I had of a mature buck being in that area. And about 7 days later, I was able to cross paths with that same deer. It's pretty awesome. So my goal this year was just to harvest a buck that was 3.5 years old, at least, and I've accomplished that. I'm very excited about that, but now I've got a new goal. I want to take a deer that's maybe 4.5, 5 years old, something bigger than the deer I just killed, and that's going to be my main mission for the rest of the season. I hope to get that done. There's going to be lots of videos about my hunts and the areas that I choose to go into to target big bucks like that. So stick around, subscribe. There's going to be a lot more hunting videos, not just from me, but from the other guys as well here at Survive the Hunt. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on this video if you liked it. We've got a lot more hunts coming this year, not just from me, but from Jake down in Ohio and Billy. We're going to be hitting a lot of public land here in Michigan. Even got a trip planned for the northern lower peninsula that we're going to spend a week hunting public land, so that should be great. Stick around for those videos. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm just absolutely blown away by the fact that I was able to take a deer of that caliber my second season of bow hunting, and on my very early in the season. Feels amazing. Obviously, if I could, I would be here with the deer showing it off to you, but the day that I harvested it, we didn't get any recovery footage because it's warm. It is extremely warm for this year. So I had to process that deer immediately. That night I processed him. I stayed up till 3 a.m. I caped him. I'm actually getting a shoulder mount of that deer just because it means a lot to me as the first deer that I shot with a bow on public land. And obviously it's not an absolute giant deer, but it means a lot to me. So like I said, thanks for watching. We'll see you all in the next one. Subscribe, like, hit the notification bell to be notified when our next video comes out. Duck season's now open in Michigan. We're really looking forward to that. Appreciate the watch, y'all. See you on the next one.